Good evening, Broncos country. Happy Saturday. Let's give it a minute to get all of our streams in here.
So we're having a problem with one of the Facebook streams. So let me see if I can get that going.
Okay, give us a minute here, guys, to get that all up and running.
All right.
All righty, and we are good to go. Welcome in to another installment of the Orange and Blue View. I'm so glad to be here with you tonight. I'm one of the co-hosts, Ron White. That way is my other co-host, Thomas Hall. Hey, Thomas, how are you doing on this nice Saturday?
I am doing great. I'm excited for Sunday Night Football, man. I tell you, this renewed kind of confidence the team has, the belief that they have, and actually they're winning too. So, that type of stuff, it makes me happy because I'm a Broncos fan, been a Broncos fan for a long, long time. And it's been a rough go. So if we can get some wins back, get some more wins going, it's gonna be great.
Yes, and we got some super chats coming in here. We're going to start off with David McKillraft, Papa Bear. Thank you, David, for coming in and showing support. We appreciate you, my man. He says, "Good evening, Broncos country. Tom, Ron, Dylan, and Deacon Scott. Hashtag 11 and 6. Hashtag Buckham times 3. Hashtag MHH for life. Hashtag Denver Broncos for life." And again, David, thank you for coming in. And you're sticking by this prediction, man. I'm good that you're remaining consistent. You have the faith that the Broncos are going to continue this win streak. And you're right, Thomas. It is just so great to see this team bounce back and the way that they're winning these games, and now into the playoff contender discussion.
That's right.
It's such a great thing to see. Obviously, they have to keep winning, and this Minnesota team is on a 5-game win streak. So this is not going to be easy pickings for Denver either. But if they keep winning and keep playing with that aggression that we've seen over the past few weeks, the playoffs are definitely a possibility.
Well, and you think about it, you look at there's a scenario this weekend if the Broncos win and some other teams don't take care of business on their end, that they leapfrog 4 teams and they're basically half a game out of the playoffs. Mm-hmm. And that's it. I mean, in the 7 seats. So it's not unrealistic to have enthusiasm for the playoffs. Of course, they've got to keep winning. There's no doubt about that. But things are starting to kind of shape up in the NFL that is beneficial to the Broncos. Now, I don't like to see people get injured, anybody in the NFL, but Joe Burrow injury done for the season. Ravens lost, they lost their tight end, Mark Andrews. Mm-hmm. And of course, before that, you've seen Deshaun Watson they got to play the Browns. He went down, so there's all these things are kind of in motion. And we're going to talk about the injury report for the Broncos a little bit later, but if the Broncos can stay healthy and these other teams can't, they can make a move. They can make a quick move up. Of course, they can't fall back into how they played the first few weeks of the season. They got to continue to play like they've been or it's over. But I'm enjoying the excitement. I really am. Yes. I'm going to grab Dylan Von Arx coming in. Thanks, Dylan, for being here tonight. Appreciate it. Our staff writers got some articles out there. Check it out on Mile High Huddle. He's reminding everybody to hit the like button and share on all platforms and subscribe. If you came here, you saw it, you liked it, subscribe, and so you get these alerts. So, yeah, thanks, Dylan, for the reminder. Appreciate you being here. Yes. And then we've got Dominic Martin coming in. Had a few people come in early, so it was great. Dominic's coming in and saying, "Hey, Tom and Ron, Mile High salute to my Broncos family. I want to see the Broncos handle business tomorrow night, execute in all 3 phases of the game. Grow Broncos and Mile High Huddle for life. Orange and Blue View rocks." Yeah, we're going to talk about how they can execute in 3 phases today because we're doing our pregame like we have been in the past. We've been out for a couple of weeks because of the way the bye and the Monday Night Football and all that. But we're back doing our pregame show. We're going to talk about how the offense can pick it up a little bit for sure because the defense has been doing their job. Special teams have been doing their job. Mm-hmm. Offense wasn't doing their job last weekend. They did just enough, which is good enough. So let's hope that they can click on all cylinders in all three phases for sure.
Yes, thank you, Dominique, for coming in. And you're absolutely correct. The Broncos have to handle business tomorrow. And Thomas is right. The defense came to play on Monday night against Buffalo. The special teams was there as well. Offense, it was just the, like you said, we were kind of out ahead for a good bit, so we were able to kind of win the game. But offense just struggled. I mean, over those turnovers, Thomas, we could have had way more points. So, they have to find a rhythm, and hopefully they can find that rhythm in this game tomorrow night for sure. But
yeah, for sure.
yeah.
I'm gonna grab David Youngkin. He's in here early. Thanks, David, for being here.
Thanks,
Appreciate
David.
it.
Yeah.
Saying this will be a defensive battle. Just hoping that our offensive line can hold up and make some plays. Yeah, you hit it right. I mean, the Minnesota Vikings got a pretty potent pass rush. I mean, Daniel Hunter's leading the league in sacks for one. On the other side, Wonham, I think that's how you pronounce his name. He's got 5.5 sacks, I believe. They can get after it. Plus, they blitz a ton. So I hope it's not a defensive battle. I hope the Broncos just run away with it and beat them handily. But you may be right. It may end up being a defensive battle, and let's hope that the Broncos come out on the winning side of that defensive battle. I don't know about you, Ron. I like scoring points. I like watching the team score points. But going back old school when it was defense and seeing them defensive battles, I actually appreciated it. I played a lot of defense back in the day when I was younger, and I appreciate these good defensive teams very, very, very much so.
Yes, thank you, David. And I don't want this to be a defensive battle. I'm with you. I'm a big fan of points, although I do like defense. And I see, David, why you may be leaning that way. And Thomas, you just alluded to it, and this probably is a good segue into some of our keys to the game here. But Dave, the reason why I said you're onto something is because of the blitz of the Minnesota Vikings. So Flores likes to bring the blitz, likes to bring the house just about on a lot of different plays. And again, this is my first key to victory with the Broncos, and that means beating the blitz, that heavy blitz approach from the Minnesota Vikings. Now, my other key is kind of going to feed into this on how they would do that. But just to kind of give you some numbers, he brings about at least 5 players at the opposing quarterback with every play. Through the first half of the season, they actually lead the league with a 57.9% blitz rate. Wow. So, what's the best way to do that? A lot of that run quick game concepts is definitely one way. The quick passing is definitely one way to beat the blitz. In the matchup with the Saints, that was actually their lowest blitz rate, just because the Saints were changing things offensively. And, with a more known, quarterback like Derek Carr, more veteran, more experienced, they were able to kind of put in some of those plays with the slants, the shallow crossers, and the screens. So that's why the rate was at a lower time when they were playing the Saints. But, when Minnesota played some of these other teams, they were very inexperienced quarterbacks, like, Desmond Ridder from, the Falcons, and so on and so forth. So I think if Sean Payton and Russell Wilson can come together and maybe kind of deploy a lot of those quick passing concepts to beat it, I think that'll help them set up for success.
Yeah. Well, and, part of that short passing game and the quick, efficient passing game, which Russell Wilson hasn't been doing great with as of late, but he needs to really pull. He really needs to start hitting those quick passing short field, because the Minnesota Vikings are giving up 74% completion rate in that short area of the field, and that's higher than that. It's above the median, the mean of the NFL. So if you look at all the other teams, so by quite a bit, actually, a pretty good percentage. So that's going to help that pass rush. It's going to help slow that pass rush down. If he can get the ball out of his hands, And so from my perspective, I'm going to just talk about, I think, a matchup that really will help. That is Jerry Jeudy. He's probably going to go against Byron Murphy, that matchup. If Jeudy can get off the line quick and get into, get some separation, so Russell Wilson feels like, okay, I'm going to be able to hit this in stride or whatever, that's going to be huge. I think Jerry Jeudy might have a pretty big game. So keep an eye out for that when it comes to those short passing. But yeah, I mean, they allow a lot of completions. There's just no doubt about it. So
yes.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna just got Phil McLaughlin coming in. I'm gonna grab him coming in from Facebook with Facebook Stars saying, "Good evening, Thomas and Ron. Sorry, Locke is out, but Jackson is back. I see a 45-55 pass run percentage. Go Broncos, Mile High Huddle for life." Thanks for coming in, Phil. Thanks for the support. Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see how much they run. I hope they're able to run the ball. Minnesota's pretty good at stopping the ball, stopping that run. So we'll see. I think they're going to miss Locke. I think PJ Locke has really helped that defense, and hopefully he'll be back soon. I hope he's not out too long. He's the only one out, so that's good. That's good.
Yes, thank you, Phil, for coming in. And it is sad that Locke is out, because we did see when Locke exited the game, Turner yell. It just wasn't it wasn't pretty. But K-Jack is back. Let's see what happens. In the pressers this week, I know Sean Payton and K-Jack were joking. I think Sean Payton mentioned to Jack, called him early one morning and mentioned to not mess it up.
Yeah.
So, with him coming back, at least that we won't, be as void of safety help. But yeah, Locke has been playing well. It's a bummer. Again, hopefully the injury isn't keeping him out for too long. But Locke has been playing well in the secondary for sure.
Well, for everybody joining, we're giving you the Denver Broncos pregame show for the Sunday night primetime matchup. And one thing I'd just like to point out, get some pizza, right? Make Little Caesars. We're the official pizza sponsor in the NFL, part of your game day. There's nothing. I think pizza goes really well with football. It goes well with anything. It really does. But you can order online during our pizza pregame, 1 hour before and 3 hours after NFL kickoffs, plus all day on Sunday. Get ready for some football fun.
Yes, select your favorite Little Caesars pizza or pick the toppings that you guys like. Either way, you guys win. So on my pizza, I like to have pepperoni, sausage. Sometimes I'll do some bacon. Other times I like the supreme. Just kind of depends on my mood. And speaking of that dub, everyone scores with convenient delivery or our in-store pizza portal pickup. So just grab your family, grab your friends, and enjoy some slices while the game is on.
Being right. I'm ready. I'm ready for some Little Caesars. I'm actually ready for a W, another one.
Yeah.
We'll make it 4 in a row.
Yes.
I don't care what I'm eating. The Broncos, but it would be nice to have some pizza to go with it for sure. I'm going to grab John Janot coming in. Juno. Sorry about that. I misread it. Thank you for coming in with the support. Really appreciate it. With a super chat saying, "I'm going to the Browns game." That's awesome. That's going to be a good game. If you like defense, it's probably going to be a low scoring game. It's going to be, but yeah, Broncos fans, be loud and really, that's going to be great. I wish I could go too, but I can't. And it's the first time I've ever been to an NFL game in person. Wow, that's awesome. Any advice or suggestions on what to do? Go Broncos. Well, I'll tell you, Denver Broncos fans put on a great tailgate. So get there early, hit some of the tailgates. Sons of Mile High used to be really good. I know the guy that ran that left. I haven't been to it since, but I'm sure it's still really good because the other guy that kind of took it over was a heck of a good guy. Go check that out. There's other tailgates. I would definitely hit a couple tailgates, meet some fans. It's always fun. Be loud, definitely enjoy yourself. But yeah, there's really nothing, just go in and have fun. And if you like to go in a little early and go, see them warming up and stuff like that, you can get in. So yeah, just hit a couple tailgates if you like that sort of thing. It's always fun. How about you, Ron? Any advice for John?
Yeah, John, thank you for coming in again with the super chat. We appreciate you, my man. And it's awesome that you're going to the game and it's your first. So yeah, please enjoy it. Um, yeah, I would say, yeah, you hit it on the head with tailgating. Two things, John. When the pass is incomplete, you just have to yell out incomplete. You have to be right there with the Bronco faithful, just yelling it out. Stomp in the stadiums. Just be an active participant in the crowd. Like the noise level is deafening. Also, another thing to do post game, and I believe it's near the stadium store. I think that's like near gate 9 or 10. As the players come out, as they're exiting, they're there, so you can kind of see the players up close. They'll wave, take pictures with the fans and such. So that's also a fun and cool thing to do. But yeah, I would say tailgating, be an active participant, and if you can, near that gate 10 area, just you can see some of your favorite players up close.
We got Sammy McCurdy coming in here with a question. Do you think we go after Dalton Reisner knowing that we possibly know what his flaws are? Knowing Sean Payton, he'll mix some sort of potion up. Well, it's possible. Yeah, you might be able to get some sort of information that'll help out. But I do believe that Zach Allen is another one of my players to look for. Zach Allen is going to be a key to this game because the interior pressure the Vikings give up has been pretty solid. I mean, they've given up 23 sacks, and 30% of them have been from an interior defensive lineman. So I think Zach Allen can have a good day. Mm-hmm. And if he lines up against the old Broncos, Dalton Reisner or whoever, I think he's going to do okay. I really think he's going to have a pretty solid game. I'm hoping he can get another sack on the season. Would be great, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. I don't know. They got to stop the run first and foremost. But yeah, we'll find out. I don't know how much knowing somebody that well it really helps. I'm not really sure, but we'll see. Thanks for the comment, Sammy.
Yeah, thank you, Sammy, for coming in. And this is a very interesting question. I think there will be times where Sean Payton does test, maybe go after Dalton Reisner a bit. But we don't know kind of what play scheme, times that will happen. But yeah, you're right on, Thomas, in the sense that interior defensive line, I expect Zach Allen to feast, to have a good day. We know what Reiser's weaknesses are when it comes definitely in the run game, and that was a big issue on this interior defensive line last week. The defense as a whole made great plays, but that run defense was very leaky against the Buffalo Bills.
Definitely.
So shoring that up, being that interior presence, getting sacks, from Zach Allen, I expect him to definitely have an impact in this game.
Yeah. Just going to say hi to Ernie. Ernie, thanks for coming in, saying go Broncos. Country only. Hello, Thomas and Ron. Thanks for being here, Ernie. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Ernie.
Always excited to see you in the chat. Pearl Heater's also coming in, saying hi. Hey, Pearl, I'm glad that you're here. It's nice to see you. And we've got another comment here from Sheesh saying the offense has to be better. Passing offense has to improve. They cannot rely on defense to create 5 turnovers and win games, which is nice. I mean, it's a great thing if they can, but you're right, they can't. They need to find more creative plays for tight ends. The new tight end has good size and speed. And that's a good point. The offense does have to be better. Mm-hmm. Now, I think a lot of it had to do with the Bills were playing great on defense, better than I'd seen them play before. So that was part of it. They missed, they made some mistakes here and there. The Bills were a desperate team. I think they might get it going a little bit better this against the Vikings. Maybe not, but I hope so. But yeah, the tight end, we've seen on the field that there's one area that's been really lacking, and that's having a reliable tight end receiving threat. Now, I know Kroll was active for the first time in the game last week. I don't think he even got a target. He might have, But he did come open a few times. It just I think the pass rush forced Russell Wilson's hands, but he had a couple opportunities out there. So I'm actually excited to see what he can do. I hope he can put all of it together on field this weekend and show folks that he's here and he's ready to play in the NFL. So we'll see.
Yes, thank you, Ashish, for coming in. And you are absolutely correct. I mean, it was, the Broncos were just forcing turnovers. And I think for a while it was like only 3 points. I think they only got the 3 points off the turnovers. And I'm like, this has to improve. And then also, they were starting in plus field position. And so when you look at those factors, that's a tribute to the offense. The offense has to perform better. Now, to the Bills, credit, they do have, despite all their injuries on defense, despite Josh Allen and turnovers, they do have a formidable defense. And so, their secondary held up mostly. They were a force to be reckoned with up front. So some of that is the reason why we may not have scored, but the Broncos have to find plays to score. And you're right on the tight end. Hopefully, with tight end coming in, they'll give him more opportunities. We saw the Sutton pass in the end zone, so just kind of getting those players open. Russ, again, we still see Russ holding on to the ball way too long. So I think there's a lot of different factors surrounding why the offense isn't, doing as expected or as it should or what we hope it to be. But as time goes on, hopefully if we get Dulcich back, things like that will definitely kind of open it up a little bit more for this offense.
Gary Palmer coming in with a lovely super chat. Thank you, Gary. Really appreciate you being here. And as always, we love the support. So thank you very much. Saying, love the show, guys. Go Broncos. Now, thanks for the love and thanks for being here. We're all getting ready for Thanksgiving, right? I mean, it's coming up. It's going to be here in a few days. But if you're ready to spice up your Thanksgiving, as we dive headfirst into mountains of mashed potatoes and cranberries, let's talk about the unsung hero of the holiday season, the Manscaped Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra. That's right. It's time to go cold turkey on your old razor and take care of your own turkey leg with a Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra. Visit manscaped.com and use the code HUDDLE for 25% off and free shipping, and enjoy Thanksgiving in style with a Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra. Gobble, gobble, boys.
Yeah, it's waterproof, so you can groom, wet, or dry. And you guys, let's face it, we all want to look our best when we're out in the kitchen trying to get that bird ready and carving that bird up. Plus, that LED light spotlight ensures you don't miss anything. You don't miss any spots, even with some of the low light situations that you may be facing. So, speaking of carving, the dual skin safe blade heads are your best teammates. The trimmer blade takes care of business, while the foil blade gives you an irresistible, sleek finish. It's just like a winning TD at your Thanksgiving table.
Yeah, get 20% off and free shipping with the code HUDDLE at manscaped.com. Now remember, that's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com. Use the code HUDDLE. Be thankful this holiday season for the best gift of all from Manscaped. Your balls will thank you. All right, let's jump into a few more things here. I've got Phil in here asking about Dulcich. Dulcich is, I wish it was a game that he would show up. He's still got one. I think this is his last game on IR. He had to wait four games. I think this is it. He can come back next week, so he won't be here, but maybe the next week. I hope so. Phil, let's hope that he's healed and can play and stays injury free. And that's what I've been talking about this for quite a while, Ron, about how regardless of what the talent disparity was with the Broncos and the rest of the league to start the season, that talent is starting to even out a little bit as people are losing these star players or getting injuries and the Broncos are staying healthy. If Dulcich can come back and add that other element, that's even better. So thanks for jumping in here, Phil. Really appreciate it. Yeah, let's grab another key. I've got it. My last key for this game, Ron, is stopping the run up the middle. Obviously, you always got to stop the run. I mean, you need to put the ball into Dobbs' hands. He's got to win it with his arm. Don't let them run over you and win the game with the running the ball. But up the middle is where the Minnesota Vikings are really good, running behind Bradbury, their center.
Yeah.
They, in the first 2 quarters, when they tried to establish the run in their wins, they averaged 5.2 yards per carry behind Garrett Bradbury. And even in their, if you include their losses, it was still 4.7 yards per carry, which is much higher than the average in the NFL if you look at the other teams. So for me, DJ Jones, this is a matchup, and Mike Purcell against Bradbury is going to be key. They have to stop that run, especially up the middle, because let's face it, there's nothing worse than just having a team just run it right down and throw up the middle. It's disheartening to the defense. So they need to stop the run. That's a huge key, but up the middle especially, they have to stop the run.
Yeah, that's a good one, Thomas. You were kind of thinking along the lines of kind of what I alluded to earlier, in the sense of they just have to shore up the run defense. What they put on against Buffalo on Monday was just unacceptable. So you're right. Minnesota has a great run game, and they're going to need Purcell and folks to help combat that. But hopefully we'll see what happens here tomorrow night.
Got Facebook user, but it's actually Benjamin Flores here. He says, LFG, if we get turnovers, we need to capitalize. Yeah, they didn't last week, and the Broncos have to. But I'll say this, he says, Payton's attention to detail and data analysis is unreal. He will have the boys ready. Go Broncos. Yeah, that's interesting. I think the detail, he is paying attention to the details, Ron. I mean, just the whole thing, just the little thing about Russell Wilson, who would call the play kneeling in the huddle, and he changed that up. He said, I want you to get that extra time to get to the line and have that, whatever, an extra second or maybe 2 seconds to look over the defense, have time to snap the ball. So it is attention to detail. I don't know about his data analysis. I haven't really heard. I'm an analyst myself. I do a ton of it. I haven't really heard how much data analysis he does, but all the teams really are. They're using data analytics quite heavily, especially in different places, especially when to go for it on fourth and fourth down, stuff like that. I mean, you gotta understand this is how things are done now. But yeah, thank you for that comment. It's true. The attention to detail from Payton has been refreshing.
Yes, thank you, Facebook user, for coming in. And I agree on the data analysis portion. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure Payton has used analytics to a degree, or maybe he has someone that helps him with data analysis. That could be a possibility. But I want to focus on that attention to detail, because I think that is very important. And it was evident, Thomas, that last sequence to end the first half of kicking that field goal, having that unit ready to go out on the field. I think it was 20 seconds or between 17 and 20 seconds. Having that unit prepared to go, snap, punt, we're ready to kick the field goal. I just thought that was flawless execution. So things like that, Facebook user, is why you're encouraged that, and you're excited that you have Sean Payton on your team, because it's coming out in the wash. It's definitely coming out in the wash.
Before we get to some more of our keys, I'm just going to grab Keith Brugman here with a question, which is interesting, right? Keith's coming in. Thanks for being here, Keith. Taking your time out on Saturday to hang out with us. We enjoy it. His question is, bigger loss to this team so far this season, Tim Patrick or Greg Dulcich? Well, go ahead, Ron. You look like you're ready to go. Go, you jump in there.
Tim Patrick for me. It's Tim Patrick. This is a good one, Keith. The reason why I say Tim Patrick is, well, we're seeing now that Sutton's is the more reliable weapon, but the buzz I heard with training camp and the rapport that Wilson and Tim Patrick had, I thought that Tim Patrick would definitely have been that security blanket. In times where there's pressure in Wilson's face, Wilson doesn't know where to go with the ball. Tim Patrick has always been that person to just be open, and he'll grab it. That now when it comes to receivers on this team, there's no one other like Tim Patrick. What he can provide not only on the field but off the field, like his leadership, what he did with KJ Hamler. So not only just the tangibles but the intangibles. But I would say, Keith, to answer your question, Tim Patrick is definitely the biggest loss, just because you're missing another sure, reliable wide receiver in the receiver room.
I'm going to go with Greg Dulcich, Ron.
Okay.
The biggest reason is because the drop off from the receiving threat, the tight end position, when he's gone to Troutman, who's really the next guy, is huge. I think there's a massive drop off. Where if you look at the drop off between Cortland Sutton and Tim Patrick, or between those two, or Jerry Jeudy, it's not as large. And I think they're missing that element of the offense, the tight end element, the receiving tight end. And I just think I think the Broncos have to go find a reliable, and I say reliable as in healthy, someone who can play often, but also have that receiving threat at tight end. And maybe it's Lucas Kroll. Maybe he gets better and he does it. But they need to find somebody, because Dulcich just isn't reliable enough to stay on the field. So to me, that's the biggest drop off. And when I look at it, it's like that's a void in this offense, a really big void, where they still can throw to Sutton, who's been playing pretty good. Jeudy, not as good, but he's out there. So, and I think Mims, if they can ever figure out how to get him involved, I don't think it's going to be as a. I like Tim Patrick, don't get me wrong. I mean, he's reliable, good, big receiving threat. I just think there's just that big void in there. So yeah, thanks, Keith, for that. Appreciate it.
Yeah, that's a good one.
All right. You got any more keys or matchups, Ron? I think I've been kind of like taking over and saying all of mine right away. So I'm gonna let you.
Yeah, that's fine. And I know a few of mine have kind of gone, hand in hand, as far as the keys. But the marquee matchup that I want to highlight, Moreau and Osborne. Moreau has only allowed 12 completions on 19 attempts for 110 yards, and he had that pick last week in Buffalo. So I just want to see that continue. I like Moreau's game. He's very instinctive. I want to see him kind of use those ball hawk skills to kind of get Osborne off his, because Osborne's actually a very capable receiver. I've looked at some games, and he does move well. He catches well, kind of catches anything in his vicinity. So it'll be interesting to see how Moreau can elevate his game and kind of contain Osborne, because I know right now, Jefferson has been listed as definitely out. So we know with PS2 and Addison, I think that's kind of going to be the key, one of the main matchups, and then you'll have wideout 2, and that'll be against Moreau. But yeah, I like what I've seen from Moreau Thomas. He's
Nice.
He's been very good these past few games. On definitely
Surprisingly.
that wide. Yes, very surprisingly good. Agreed.
Yeah,
so
sure.
that'll be a very good matchup to see.
I'm going to grab Joey LaGuardia here, just because anytime I see Tom Nalen some support for him, I'm going to bring it up, man. Tom Nalen for the Hall of Fame. I think we're going to find out next week, I believe, if he makes it to the semifinalists. So fingers crossed that he gets into the semifinals and we can finally start talking in earnest about his candidacy for the Hall of Fame. Thank you, Joe. I appreciate it. And Phil's coming in with some Facebook stars. Thanks, Phil. Predicting Williams breaks 100 yards. If Swift can get 175, I feel confident that our O-line can get Williams open. Now, I predicted last week was going to be his first century game, and I was wrong. It was a bummer, because he ran hard, but the Bills, they were selling out to stop the run, I thought. In fact, I thought the Bills defense probably played one of their better games of the season, really. They really had a good game plan. Javonte ran hard, but he just didn't, he was getting tackled early, and, he was grinding it out. But I hope you're right. He keeps getting better and better. He's due for a breakout. So, I mean, if he can, that's going to be huge.
Yeah. And I know we're going to get to stat projections later. And thank you, Phil, for coming in with this. But I'll get to it now, since we have you with your prediction. I have Williams a little bit under 100. So I have him at 90 yards.
Okay.
Because I'm looking at his average this season, and it's been kind of in the 80s, mid to high 80s. So I have it at 90 with one rushing touchdown this game. But yeah, I mean, we already know you're right on the if our O line can create those holes. Yeah, I mean it'll be a good day for Williams once again. So
well, think about it. If he ran like he did against the Bills, but had one like kind of big run, 20, 25 yards, that's going to get him over, right? I mean, he grinds it out, gets one big run, and it could happen. I mean, I'm hoping for him. I love watching Javonte Williams run. I always have. It's amazing. It's fun to watch.
Oh yeah.
And he just runs with such intensity and determination. I mean, how can you not like to watch the way he runs? It's amazing. Mike Edel coming in with a super chat. Thank you so much, Mike. Really, thanks for being here. And Mike's a Minnesota. He lives in Minnesota. Hey, Thomas and Ron, great show. I live in Minnesota. I'm super nervous about this game tomorrow. I think we really have to run the ball. Yeah, I feel for you, Mike. I've been in so many different places where it wasn't Broncos country where I've lived. I've been in New England when the Patriots are winning all the time. It's miserable to go into work, especially if you lost to them. So hopefully you can go into work and with the Broncos win, and you can you hold your head up high. So we're rooting for you, and we're rooting for them to win this game. But yeah, let's hope they can run the ball.
Yeah, thank you, Mike. My apologies, brother. You live in Minnesota, at least during this time. But yeah, I'm a little nervous on this game as well. Again, hopefully with the keys that we're highlighting, that'll help put them over the top. And I agree on your last point. Definitely have that emphasis on running the football, because another way to attack the blitz is to run right at them as well. So, if they can focus on that with some of the quick pass game, and if the defense obviously continues to play at a high level, it should be a victory for the Broncos. But you still think about the possibility of losing, because this is a very good Minnesota team, with this 5-game win streak. So.
And they've been doing it without Justin Jefferson too. And it looks like he's out again. It looks like he's not going to be playing this week. So, I mean, they've been winning without Kirk Cousins and Justin Jefferson for the most part. So it's impressive. I'm hoping that the Broncos continue to play like they've been playing the last couple of weeks. And if they can, they should be able to win this game. But I will say that one person who has to really step up his game, and everybody knows it, it's Russell Wilson, especially in this game. Mm-hmm. He has to be able to get rid of the ball quickly. Mm-hmm. Now, he's struggled to do that the last few weeks, where he drops back, kind of thinks about it, then moves around the pocket. He really needs to get rid of the ball quickly. I think he will. I think that's what the game plan is going to be, and they're going to be ready to go. And I'm going to predict that he has a pretty good game as we go into our stat projections later. But really, man, he's the guy that really needs to kind of step it up. And he's been playing good. Don't get me wrong. Like, his red zone play has been great. He's doing what he needs to do to move the team when he can. And he's got some flaws in his game, but he needs to fix that this game if they really want to win.
But yeah, and that's the thing, Thomas. It's he's holding on to ball. And to Mike's point here, the nervousness for me comes with the blitz of Minnesota, just because we know Russell Wilson doesn't do that well against the blitz. So again, that's where Sean Payton just has to come up with a good game plan to beat that. Hopefully Russ can execute it and be efficient to do so. And again, you can't hold on to the ball for too long, because we still see a lot of him holding on to the ball for too long and running and taking these sacks. And he has to get better at that. So hopefully this game plan will be plays to where as though we can, they can beat the blitz and hopefully run the ball, as Mike said here.
Todd Ostendorf's checking in. Thanks for being here, Todd. Really appreciate it. Saying hello to you and I. Thank you so much, Todd, for that. Yeah, I'm going to grab one more guy that I don't – he's been playing great. And I'm not really going to talk about his coverage. I mean, it's Jaquan McMillan. Right. Mm-hmm. He's been playing really good football. But I went back and I looked at some of the games that Minnesota has played, and they have allowed 3 sacks from a defensive back on a blitz. And I think that McMillan might be able to sneak in and get one of those sacks if they, if they can work it right and have him sneak in and get a sack. That'd be amazing. But yeah, I think that the Vikings are kind of vulnerable to that at times. And I'm hoping he does. It's a one to watch, not just for his his pass defense skills, but let's see what he can do on one of those sneaky blitzes from a DB.
Yeah. So a player of mine to watch, Nick Bonito. Just because we know about the Josh Dobbs magic, and the Broncos are going to need that spy to come through yet again. So having that person to spy on Dobbs, just because with Dobbs, I'm not saying he's Mahomes' guys, but just his ability to extend plays is what has made him so dangerous these past several games. So you're going to need someone to help, show up and contain him outside of the pocket, him getting sliding left and right to extend the play. So I'm looking for probably going to be a mixture how, Van Schilzer deploys, but I know Benito's kind of been tasked to be that spy at times, and I'm looking for him to continue that as well. And then another player I want to briefly talk about is Samaje Perine. Those little improvisations on offense, as we saw at Buffalo, like the flips from Russell Wilson to Perine to get the first down. I want to see more of that. It's kind of things like that, Thomas, where obviously we know with Perine, he's a very capable runner. He knows how to block as well, but just being that security blanket, and if you need a few yards to get the first down, he's right there in space to get it. So kind of looking for more wild plays like that from Perine as well.
Yeah, and he was an unsung hero kind of in that Buffalo Bills game. I don't think, like I said, there's a lot of things that they had to do, like just enough to do. And he on that last drive was highly important. So, yeah, I like not much of I don't see his rushing ability out there like I thought it was going to be, but his pass catching and, getting some yards after the catch has been very, very good this year. I've appreciated watching that. So, yeah, that's good. All right, we've got some predictions starting to flow in here. Phil McLaughlin's coming in with Facebook stars and getting his last prediction out. Says that Mims will get a return for a TD. Minnesota's punt coverage is terrible. 17-14 Broncos. He's due, man. He has been unbelievable in punt return. I mean, he really has, and he was huge in the Buffalo Bills game. Huge. So maybe he's not huge on offense right now, but he is helping where it matters, and that's field position.
Yeah, thank you, Phil, for coming in, and that's a good prediction. He's due to break one out soon. I mean, in the Buffalo game, he was the sole reason we were starting with great field position. So yeah, you're right. With Minnesota's coverage being terrible, he may break one. He definitely does have the talent to do so, but 17-14. That's an interesting prediction. I know some folks are saying this is a defensive battle, so I can see that. But we'll let you guys know our predictions here shortly. But that's a good prediction.
Yeah, thanks, Phil, for coming in with support. Thanks. And I'm gonna give you we'll give our game predictions in, but I'm gonna give you a stat prediction, and I think people are gonna probably think I'm full of baloney, but I'm doing it anyway. Russell Wilson. Going to throw more than people think. Highly efficient, 30 of 44 for 305 yards, 2 TDs.
Okay.
We'll see. We'll see. I don't think people are going to believe me. I hope it comes to fruition, though.
That's interesting. Yeah, we will see. It's the splits. It's going to be interesting. Stat projections for mine. So I already gave you guys the Pookie projection. But for the other players I have, Cortland Sutton. I have 6 receptions on 8 targets, 60 yards, and 1 touchdown. And then my last stat projection comes on defense with our linebacker, Alex Singleton. 11 total tackles with 5 solo, 3 assisted tackles. And I'm also putting in there a fumble recovery.
Right on. Yeah, I've got a defensive one too. Mine's Zach Allen, though.
Okay.
Zach Allen's going to have a big game. I mean, I was down on Zach Allen at the first couple of games. I just thought, he just didn't seem like he was living up to that big contract. But he's been playing so much better. His interior presence should be felt. He's going to have a sack, 1 batted ball, and 2 QB hits. Zach Allen's going to be one of the defensive stars this time around. That's what I think anyway. And I hope it happens because they need it. The Broncos really do need it. So, and then my last one is Jerry Jeudy. He's going to have a big game. He has to. If they're going to win, he's got to come up, big with that quick passing game. So he 9 catches, 85 yards, and a TD for Jerry Jeudy.
Nice. I see some comments in here saying, Thomas, you got Wilson cooking.
I do. And, it's one of those things where it's not just because they're playing the Vikings. It's not just because he's got to have that quick passing game going. And we're getting some, we're going to see him hit some of those quick ones, get some yards after the catch. It's the fact that he's continuing to be in the Sean Payton offense a little bit more, getting a little more comfortable. I think you're going to start to see these statistical games getting better for him, right? Yards and things like that. So it's just, that's where I'm kind of projecting it. And the Vikings, I think, are vulnerable for it. I think they're vulnerable for that quick passing game. And I think, I just think he's going to have a nice game, a really nice game. And if he doesn't, then I don't know if he has another game like he had, Buffalo, not so good. I don't know if they're going to be able to beat the Vikings. And so he's got to step it up.
Yep.
All right, let's see if we got some predictions coming in here. We got Ernie Mays 21-6 Broncos. Man, isn't it great to sit here and watch people coming in with these predictions for the Browns? Because 5 weeks ago, nobody was predicting the Browns to do anything. It's a huge turnaround so far. So thank you, Ernie, for coming in with that. And Mike L's coming back in with another super chat. Thank you so much. As the show is winding down, coming in with a super chat, asking, do you think Dalton Reisner will be a liability for Minnesota? Well, he was kind of a liability with the Broncos, so I hope so. I hope he doesn't have one of those revenge games where he's amazing, but I don't know. I hope so. Mike.
Yeah, I like that question, Mike. Thank you for coming in. And yeah, I think we all hope so. I haven't really watched too much of him with Minnesota this year, but we could only go by what we saw for when he was with the Denver Broncos. And so, if that's any indicator of what's happening, then that might be the case Sunday night. But, we'll be able to Denver be able to use that to their advantage. So,
yeah, definitely. And Todd Ostendorf's going to come in and he's kind of giving me some of the business here when it comes to Jeudy. He's been kind of trash this year. Yeah, he's not had a very good year, but he's going to have a good game this game. He has to. It's one of those things where he has to have a good game. It's time to step up and do it. If you want to be a star in this league, you've got to do it when it counts, when it matters. You have to be out there. You can't just, go, get 6 catches for 70 yards here and there. You've got to go out there and be a star. And he needs to do it. So let's see if he can. I'm hoping he does. I'm predicting that short passing game is going to help him.
Yes.
And they're going to be on the same page, and they're going to do it. He's going to have a good game. So, all right. Ron, we're almost to the end of this show here. What do you have for your game prediction?
Yes. So, under the Sunday night lights at Empower Field at Mile High, the Broncos have to play well on all sides of the ball. I think we all know this. But I do think that they will limit this Josh Dobbs magic that we've seen over the past several weeks. And those impact plays will be made on offense. Again, I believe that Payton's plan is going to be to attack this blitz with that intermediate quick passing game. Of course, they're going to run right at him. So that will allow, of course, the offense to accentuate its ground game as well, with Javonte Williams going off. And then Russell Wilson will still be Russell Wilson when needed. You'll still see some of those wild throws, ad-libbing at times. So with that, I do have the Broncos coming away with a dub to sustain momentum and remain in that playoff conversation. So final score, Broncos 27, Vikings 17.
Nice 10-point victory. I'm with you, Ron. I was down on this team. I wasn't going to make a prediction where they won another game the rest of the season a few weeks ago. I really wasn't.
A lot of us were like that.
But I'm going to tell you that it's not just that they've won a few games. It's that they have a new belief, and they've done just enough to win. They went into Buffalo and did just enough to win against a desperate Bills team.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that team had to win to stay in the playoff race and stay, to try and keep pace with the Dolphins to win their division, and they couldn't do it. And they played one of the better defensive games that I've seen from them. So I like the newfound belief. I think the players believe they can finally win instead of how they were before, where they didn't know if they could or not. So I really like it, and I think this is the game where at home all three phases work. Mm-hmm. All three phases are going to be playing together well: special teams, defense, and offense.
Yep.
And that's why I think that they're going to win 31-20. I think they're going to have a comfortable lead going towards the end of the game, and the Vikings are going to score to kind of make it look a little bit better. But I think that the Broncos they've got the momentum. They've got this, and I know that momentum doesn't matter because it could change. It could change on Sunday, but the belief that they can win is there, and that's what I really am appreciating about this team, because when I looked at it before, it was a makeup of players who didn't know how to win.
Right.
They lost their whole careers for the most part, right? And now they're finally figuring it out, and that's why I like the Buffalo Bills game. Mm-hmm. It wasn't a dominating win, and yeah, they had but they did just enough, and they got helped out a little. Don't get me wrong, but they did what they needed to do just enough to win that game, and that's why I'm predicting them to put it all together this weekend.
And I want to add to that, Thomas, and it's not only that they can win in a variety of ways, and they're doing this with the elite competition in the AFC. Snapping that losing streak, against the Kansas City Chiefs, and they held Mahomes and that squad out of the end zone. And so, that was a dominating win. And then you just saw last Monday night, it was a close win. So being able to win in a variety of ways, winning close, pulling away, is, I think, having this team changing their mentality and saying, hey, they can go in and beat anybody in any type of way they can. So that's why I do have the Broncos winning this one quite comfortably.
Yeah, and we got William Contellanos coming in talking about the wild card. And this team has the ability to make a wild card, I believe, but they have to want it bad and go do it. Yeah. And that's what we're talking about. That's what I mean. Like, they believe they can. I really do believe that they believe that they can. And if you think about it, like I said earlier in the show, there's a scenario where they're half a game out of that 7th seed if they win on Sunday, depending on how the others go. And one of the teams in front of them is the Buffalo Bills, who they beat. And then the other team in front of them is two other teams are the Cleveland Browns and the Houston Texans, who would be in front of them, and they play them. So they control their destinies, so to speak. They have to win this weekend, obviously. But there's a scenario where they're like right back in it after this weekend. We got 27-23 from Rodney Garcia. Denver's going to win. Awesome. I'm just going to check to see if we got some more. Todd Ostendorf. Denver 31, Minnesota 27. Going to have some scoring going on. That's great. It'd be nice to see some scoring going on for sure. 31 points. I'll take it. Take it.
Yep. Love it, Todd.
And then, of course, we've got Ernie Mays coming in with another Tom Nalen for the Hall of Fame. Just keep it going. Keep that vibe out there. Keep the excitement. Let's hope that they can do it. And Ron, this is the thing. It's funny to think about centers in the Hall of Fame. To get the last 5 centers that have been elected to the Hall of Fame, you have to go way back to Jim Langier. I believe it's Jim Langier. That is a long time ago. Where if you look at wide receivers, you don't have to go back to Marvin Harrison. And running back, same kind of thing. You don't have to go that far back.
Yeah.
We need more centers in the Hall of Fame. We need more offensive line. The people that do the dirty work, that don't get any recognition, need to get into the Hall of Fame. So thank you. Yeah. We got Brad Winkler coming in, going to end out the show saying, as always, great show, Thomas and Ron. Yeah, thank you for being here. We really do appreciate you taking your time out and being here with us, because this pregame show, I think we go in and dig up a lot of information that other people may not see. So I hope you can listen to us. It don't always come true, but we've been pretty accurate, Ron, on a lot of these. We've said this is going to happen, and it really has, pretty close. So I'm sticking to it. I think we did it. I think we're doing a good job.
I think we are as well. All right.
And Todd's going to, I'm sorry for making a Tom Nalen show, but wasn't Nalen the 90s all-decade team? No, he wasn't, Todd. And the reason why he wasn't, and this happens to a lot of players, is they kind of split their career between two of the decades. So, he started over in 1995 and was injured in 2007. So he's kind of split his time in both decades, and he wasn't on it. Olin Kreutz was the second team, and Kevin Mawai was first team in the 90s, I think, if I remember correctly. Or I take that back. No, it was in the 90s. It was Demarty Dawson, and I can't remember who. I think it was. Yeah, I can't remember who it was, but he didn't do it in the 90s. So he should have been on there. But let's get some. Let's hope that he gets some renewed interest. All right, Ron, I think it's time. We should wrap up the show. Any last words for the folks in the chat?
I just want to say thank you all for tuning in to another installment. This was a great conversation as always. Enjoy the game tomorrow night. That the Broncos should do well, as our predictions have shown. And make sure you hit the like button and subscribe and share on all the platforms. That's with all of the shows that we have here. And then we will talk to you guys next week.
All right. Quentin Carson saying you guys are the best. Have a great night. Thanks, go Broncos. Thank you for that, Quentin. And with that, I'm going to say good night and good luck to the Broncos tomorrow. Thank you all for being here. Have a lovely weekend.
Go Broncos.